Welcome to the second video in the series of talks from AberTB on bovine TB here in Aberystwyth. My name is Beverley Hopkins and I am a Veterinary Investigation Officer at the Wales Veterinary Science Centre in Aberystwyth. In 2019 we collaborated on the first AberTB conference and I am talking to you today about the Wales Badger Found Dead project, which I've been working on for the last 6 years. Fel rhan o raglen Llywodraeth Cymru I ddileu TB, dyfarnwyd contract I gasglu moch daear marw at ddibenion post-mortem. Dyma cyflwyniad byr am y brosiect ac am canlyniadau o'r 6 mlwyddyn diwethaf. As part of the Welsh Government Bovine TB Eradication Programme, a contract was awarded to collect badger found dead carcasses for post-mortem purposes. Here is a short presentation about the project with the results from the first 6 years. In this presentation, I will cover a bit about the project, the post-mortem examination, culture of Mycobacterium bovis, the causative bacteria of bovine TB, a few results with those all-important maps, and I will also cover some of the most frequently asked questions. Reports of dead badgers were received from the general public, farmers and vets from all over Wales. These were via phone calls, social media and via the website www.bfd.wales. Most badgers were found dead on roadsides, but some were found in fields, sheds and gardens. Many badgers were not collected. Unsuitable badgers were those where we would be unable to take the routine samples. The animal couldn't be found, it was in an unsafe location, or there was a potential for contamination. For instance, the animal was eviscerated. The badgers were collected by dedicated drivers or local vets before being delivered for post-mortem examination by vets. This map gives you an idea of the location of the badgers reported to us during 2019. Unfortunately, we do not have this data for the entire period of this project. However, it does give you an idea of the distribution of badgers reported to us. This next slide features an image of a badger undergoing post-mortem examination. A set post-mortem protocol was followed based on previous research by Tim Crawshaw at APHA. The post-mortem examination collects samples from the same lymph nodes which are sent for culture. A variety of other organs and other lymph nodes are incised and examined for changes. Any bite wounds or suspicious lesions are sent away for culture. Some badgers submitted for this project were also used for the Wildlife Incident Investigation Scheme, with samples being sent off for poisons analysis. As you can see, of over 3,000 reports, just under 2,000 badgers were collected, and just over 3/4 of those undergo post-mortem examination. These figures are from the 1st of September 2014 to the 31st of January 2020. The photograph shows the level of protection we use when undertaking the post-mortem examination. Staff wear full waterproofs, double gloves, cut-proof gloves, powered respirators, and the post-mortem examination is undertaken on a special downdraft table. During the post-mortem examination, vets are asked to specify where being hit by a vehicle was not the most likely cause of death. Other causes of death include emaciation, other diseases such as pneumonia, euthanasia, and being hit by a train. Unfortunately, the cause of death could not be determined in all badgers submitted. A full post-mortem examination with photographs was carried out if the vet was suspicious of any illegal interference, and these were reported to the relevant police force. The most common illegal interference was snaring. One badger was found to have been shot illegally in the course of this project, and this was reported to the relevant police force. Please can I take this opportunity to remind you that any interference with badgers or badger sets is illegal and will be reported. Some badgers were euthanized on humane grounds. These were then submitted to the project if deemed suitable. A common misconception that badgers shot by farmers are being left at the side of the road to look like an RTA appears to be incorrect. The samples are then sent to a laboratory. Here they are whizzed up and then inoculated onto culture plates such as the one in the picture here. The tube contains a solid media that supports the growth of Mycobacterium bacteria. These tubes are examined every fortnight for up to 12 weeks in a laboratory. When growth is seen, it is identified. Badgers can grow other types of Mycobacterium bacteria which are not bovine TB. All growth that is Mycobacterium bovis is then sent for typing. The typing process is being refined and full genomic sequencing of the bacterial DNA is taking place of the typing process we always used in the past. The DNA can then be compared to cattle isolates. Here is the table of results. The TB area listed on the left-hand side is the TB incident area as defined by the Welsh Government. We have the high TB area of East Wales, the high TB area of West Wales, the intermediate TB area of Mid Wales, the intermediate TB area of North Wales, and the low TB area of North Wales. As you can see, the high TB area in the east of Wales has the highest prevalence of Mycobacterium bovis in badgers, while the low TB area of North Wales has the lowest prevalence of TB in badgers. Other results to note are that there is a higher prevalence in males than females, and animals with bite wounds are more than twice as likely to be infected. There is no clear seasonal prevalence pattern, but most badgers are submitted between January and March, and this may cause the mean estimate of prevalence to be inflated. We will now look at these results on a map. This image shows the blue dots are negatively tested badgers and the red dots are positive badgers. The red line in North Pembrokeshire indicates the boundary of the intensive action area. Please bear in mind with this map, the dots may be superimposed on each other, so please don't count them. Now let's look at these areas in a bit more detail. This is the high TB area in the east of Wales, extending from Welshpool in the north to Newport Gwent in the south. Positive badgers seem to be diffusely spread throughout the whole area. Of 312 badgers sampled, 60 were positive, giving a prevalence of 19.2%. The high TB area in West Wales comprises Pembrokeshire, South Ceredigion and most of Carmarthenshire and the Gower. This area has a lower prevalence percentage than in the 2005 to 2006 study. Positive badgers appear to be diffusely spread throughout the area. Of 524 badgers, 46 were positive, giving a prevalence of 8.8%. Here is the intermediate area of Mid Wales that extends from Machynlleth in the north through Aberystwyth, Tregaron, Llandyfri, Neath and down to Cardiff in the south. As one would expect, there are fewer positive badgers in this area, and most are on the border with the high TB area. As you can see, few badgers are collected in the Cambrian Mountains and the valleys south of the Brecon Beacons. So it is important that if you see a badger, in particular in those areas, that you give us a call. 279 badgers were sampled, with only 9 being positive, giving a prevalence of 3.2%. The intermediate area in North Wales covers a smaller geographical area that includes part of the Dee Valley, including Llangollen, Wrexham, and up to the Dee estuary in the north. The south of the area has seen a lower submission number of badgers, so it would be great if we can get more calls about badgers south of Llangollen. Of 134 badgers sampled from this area, 4 was positive, giving a prevalence of 3%. The low TB area of North Wales covers Gwynedd, Llŷn Peninsula, Anglesey, Conwy, across to Rhuthun in Denbighshire. Unfortunately, there was one positive badger in this area. The badger did undergo full genomic sequencing, and it was found to be related to a historic cattle breakdown in the same area. No further positive badgers have been collected from the same area, so we can hope that it hasn't spread. Snowdonia has relatively few badgers, but it would be great if more were called in to us from Anglesey and the Llŷn Peninsula. Of 226 badgers sampled in the area, 1 was positive, giving a prevalence of 0.4%. The data from this project is used by the Welsh Government and APHA epidemiologists. They will look at the source of TB in new breakdown cattle herds, and the information from this project can really help. Genotypes in badgers mostly occur in their home range. What is a home range? A home range is determined when a specific genotype of Mycobacterium bovis has been picked up in a certain area for at least 3 years in at least 2 different 5 km by 5 km grid squares in the last 10 years, and a buffer of 10 km is applied. This mapping shows a significant geographic association between badger and cattle genotypes, as we would expect. Now let's look at some of the most frequently asked questions that we get. What should I do if I find a dead badger? If you find a dead badger, please make a note of the location using an OS map grid reference, what 3 words, or detailed location description, and ring us on 0808 169 5110, or log on to our website at www.bfd.wales, complete the online form, or email us on badger@bfd.wales. Please make a note of the state of the badger, whether it is very flat, open body cavity, or covered in maggots. We may not collect these for the project, but we will pass the details on to the local authority or trunk road agency for collection and safe disposal. Suitable badgers will be collected by our team of badger drivers or by a local vet practice, who will store the badger in a fridge until we can collect it ready for post-mortem examination. If you find a badger in your garden, field or shed, please keep other animals away from it and give us a call. Go to our website www.bfd.wales for more information. should I bag the badger? Please bear in mind that badgers can carry different zoonotic diseases. These are diseases that can be passed on to humans. We advise anyone who is going to collect a badger to wear a mask and gloves. We have a risk assessment for all those willing to collect badgers on our behalf. They should all be double bagged and bags sealed with a cable tie. What should I do if I find an injured badger? Please ring the RSPCA on 0300 1234 999. Where can I get the results for specific badgers? If you are a farmer, you are able to get the result from your APHA Field Services case vet. But please bear in mind, results take at least 12 weeks for culture, and then allow some more weeks for typing. There will be no results if your badger was deemed unsuitable for post-mortem. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, results may take a little longer. Please do not ring the Badger Found Dead helpline for results, as they do not have them. Why does culture take 12 weeks when it only takes 6 weeks in cattle? Tim Crawshaw, formerly of the APHA, compared the recovery rates for 6 and 12 weeks using different media sets. His work concluded that using 6 of these solid media slopes, known as 7H11, for 12 weeks gave the optimal recovery of Mycobacterium bovis. Most of these badgers, even if they are infected, will have small numbers of the bacteria, so the culture is even harder and slower. If you think about it, the cattle that undergo post-mortem examination have already tested positive to the TB test, whereas none of these badgers in this project have had any sort of TB test before they've been post-mortemed. Many of you will ask, well, so what? What is the point of spending all this money on testing on badgers? We already know that badgers and cattle transmit Mycobacterium bovis to each other, but this data does not say who gave it to who. No, but it can give us an idea if Mycobacterium bovis is in the badger population in different areas, and this gives us an idea of the source of infection on individual farms. The source of the infection will determine some of the procedures that should be undertaken to reduce the disease on that farm. The typing of each badger culture now is finessed, and most samples undergo full genomic sequencing. Samples from new cattle breakdowns also undergo full genomic sequencing, so the two can be compared. Just some of these samples taken during these post-mortems are also kept for research purposes to try to improve the testing of M. bovis in badgers. Please bear in mind that no extra cattle TB tests are put on farms as a result of badger results from their area. The project is ongoing, so we would still appreciate you to get in touch with us through our website or phone number if you see a dead badger in Wales. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook. An accurate location is needed of all dead badgers in Wales to enable a swift collection. Ring 0808 169 5110 or go to www.bfd.wales to report and arrange collection. I would like to acknowledge the Welsh Government, APHA, WVSE and everyone who has called in a badger location. All of our badger drivers, vets, nurses and support staff at all our drop-off centres, and the Sir Cymru and Aberystwyth University. Without all of you, this project could not be a success. Here are a few references and useful links that I have used during my presentation. Diolch yn fawr iawn am gwrando. Thank you very much for listening.